Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's Acu-Maintenance live executive webinar session. My name is Kevin Devecioglu and I'm with Bimser International. Today we'll talk about how to comply with good manufacturing practices, GMP, and how to perform facility management digitally with BEAM and Acumatica ERP software systems. BEAM is an enterprise level asset, maintenance, facility, fleet, drone, and energy management software. Today, we have a panel that we put together for you, and we'll talk about good manufacturing practices, GMP in short, from different angles. Today with us, I have Alex Kvartirov with us. He is the president of Emraz Consulting Company, and Alex will be talking about fundamentals of infrastructure management in the view of ISO 9001. Alex is a certified lead ISO auditor, and we are looking forward to hearing from him with regards to infrastructure management in the view of ISO and good manufacturing practices. Also today with us, I have Sam Watt with us. He's our precious software engineer from our engineering team at Bimser International. And Sam will be talking about BEAM software and Acumatica ERP software together as to how they run together, how they work together, and how these both systems help you comply with good manufacturing practices. Also with us, we have Hakan Aydogdu, and he is the BEAM product manager, and he'll be with us during Q&A session. First of all, I'd like to talk about who we are and what we do, and I'd like to introduce you BEAM software system on a high level. Our company is Bimser International, and we are an enterprise software maker since 1998. We are based in New York, and we have a global presence, and we are operating in many different regions in the world. We are ISO 9001 certified, ISO 27001 certified, and ISO 15504 certified. In essence, we help companies adopt digital transformation and simplify their business processes. We have global presence. While we are based in New York, we also have presence in Europe, in Middle East, and Southern Europe. So we are a group of companies, and we are a growing organization. We are an official Acumatica independent software vendor, ISV. We are also certified SAP partner. We are also Microsoft Gold development partner and MYOB Advanced ISV partner as well in Australia and New Zealand regions. Also, we are very active in Sage Intacct, Oracle, Sage X3, and many other systems. Also, recently we have finalized a new partnership with Halo Smart Sensors. And right now with the IoT technologies of Halo Smart Sensors of IP video company, we can help you automate and digitize your remote monitoring for temperature, humidity, air quality, and other important indicators that you have in your workplace. Since 1998, we developed these four products. We have EBA. EBA is our enterprise business process automation platform. Helps companies automate their business processes and digitize at the same time. We have BEAM. We'll talk more about BEAM today. That is our asset, maintenance, and facility management software. Helps companies perform their asset and maintenance management operations digitally. We have QDMS for quality, risk, audit, and compliance management. Helps companies comply with ISO, GMP, and many other quality management systems. Also, we have Ensemble as our business process modeling and performance management software. In the bottom, you can see a contract management application that is designed to help companies manage their contracts digitally with no need of paper. So in a nutshell, that's who we are and what we do. Now I'd like to share some information with you with regards to BEAM, asset maintenance, facility, and energy management software system of Bimser International. BEAM is an Acumatica certified software solution, and that is already integrated with Acumatica ERP system to help you digitize and automate your asset maintenance, facility, fleet, and energy management operations. With the help of BEAM, you can take control of your assets. You can actually manage your maintenance operations to extend lifetime of your assets. Assets may be machinery, equipment, facilities, buildings, cars, trucks, and other corporate assets. You can also manage your spare parts to make sure you have the optimum level of spare parts on hand. Also, you can manage your technicians, your subcontractors to reduce cost, increase reaction time, increase customer satisfaction, and to reduce material cost that you actually spend periodically. So BEAM is designed to help you save money on your asset and maintenance management operations. In addition, BEAM helps you comply with management and quality related regulatory requirements in a digital environment. Based on what we know from our customers as feedback, once we deploy BEAM, our customers manage to reduce maintenance costs 15 to 20%. Also, our customers manage to reduce failure, meaning unplanned breakdown, 40 to 80%. BEAM has a modular structure. I'll talk about modules in a minute. It also has advanced integration capabilities to other systems, ERP systems, manufacturing execution systems, GPRS systems, RFID systems, and so on, so that you can have an integrated management system. BEAM has a workflow engine underneath, so we can digitize any workflow-based automation and approval process in your asset and maintenance management operations. And one of the advantages of BEAM is coming with ready-made reports, so that any maintenance or asset management operations that you perform, reports are generated automatically, and they can also be sent to your email box or any other parties automatically anytime you like it to be. That also helps you manage KPIs during your asset and maintenance management operations to reduce cost. Just like any of our software products in Bimser International product range, BEAM has advanced integration capabilities. It is already integrated with Acumatica, has also capabilities to integrate with other ERP systems. It also integrates with CRM systems, manufacturing execution systems, and IoT devices such as smart sensors, PLC devices, and so on. We have been offering BEAM and installing BEAM in many different industries. This is just a list of them. As you see, we have actually installations happened in many different industries, and we have experience in, for example, manufacturing, healthcare, medical device, aerospace, aviation, construction, mining, energy, and many other industries that we have been offering BEAM. We have been installing BEAM, so we have industry-specific experience in those verticals, in those industries, in the scope of asset and maintenance and facility management. BEAM has a modular architecture, so it helps you actually put together three things: man, machine, and material in the scope of maintenance and asset management. The basic modules as we offer, as you see on the slide, consist of asset management module, maintenance management module, spare part management module, and personnel management module. When we say maintenance management, we are referring to periodic maintenance, preventive maintenance, and predictive maintenance. Yes, of course, you can also take care of your breakdown maintenance. However, we don't want you to have any unplanned breakdown. So our vision is to help you have a proactive maintenance management operations with periodic, preventive, and predictive maintenance. So you basically perform maintenance operations on your machinery, equipment, and facilities before anything breaks down. That is to be proactive. So that is where we are going, and that's what we like you to achieve while you are using BEAM, just like our current BEAM customers experiencing these proactive maintenance management capabilities and performance, high level of performance outcome in maintenance management. We also have additional modules such as purchasing management module, energy management module, service after sales module, and dashboard module. BEAM is multi-language, multi-company, multi-currency, and also multi-location. So you can actually use BEAM in many different ways if you are operating in North America, if you're operating in other regions, if you have multiple locations or single locations. BEAM has the scale. So if your company is a growing organization, if you are growing or if you are planning to grow, BEAM has the scale to grow with your organization. That is actually what it means in the in terms of business and performance management and asset and maintenance management. BEAM has a dashboard. So with the help of dashboard, you can actually see KPIs in the form of service cost, labor cost, material cost, reaction time, and so on. So that basically helps you as a leader. You can see how your company is doing from the asset and maintenance management point of view. Let's remember, maintenance means cost, and BEAM is designed to help you reduce cost by being proactive while you are performing your maintenance management operations. That is why we designed BEAM to be user friendly, and it is designed to help you be on top of asset maintenance management operations. And when we say asset management operations, we like you to monitor your KPIs in terms of your team's activities. That's why we designed this best dashboard. So you can see the cost at the same time. You can see how the team is doing in terms of current and coming work orders for maintenance purposes. BEAM has a native mobile application that is available for Android and iOS devices. This is very popular among our customers because it is very practical. With the help of BEAM's native mobile application, you can request maintenance. You can request maintenance for facility management. If you are in a production company, for example, you can request maintenance for your machinery and equipment. And if you're a technician, you can receive these requests on your mobile application once it is approved by your supervisor, maintenance supervisor or maintenance manager, for example. And you can scan the QR code or barcode to identify that machinery or equipment. And you can take pictures if necessary. And also you can follow work steps to follow company's maintenance instructions step by step. So that basically helps you become successful in your maintenance operations every single time that you have a task. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new partnership with Halo Smart Sensors. So with this ready-made integration, you can manage your maintenance operations at your facilities or work environment while Halo Smart Sensor is remotely monitoring temperature, vape, humidity, air quality. If there is anything out of range, anything is uh, not usual, and anything is not in the range of how you like it to be, then it can trigger automatic work order on BEAM so that you can take action automatically without waiting, without losing any time. So BEAM is very operational, and Halo Smart Sensor monitors remotely, and BEAM takes action. That is actually how these two great systems come together. That is basically IoT devices, IoT technology meets with BEAM software system in this digital age. Okay, great. So until now, I talk about who we are and what we do as Bimser International. And I introduce you BEAM, our enterprise level asset maintenance, facility, fleet, and energy management software. Now let's talk about fundamentals of infrastructure management in the view of ISO 9001, and also how we can actually manage our infrastructure in this competitive marketplace. So for this, I like to invite Alex Kvartorov to our virtual stage, and we'll learn from Alex as to how to manage our infrastructure, our facilities to comply with ISO 9001 and also good manufacturing practices as well. Alex, if you're ready, you can take over the screen.
Sure.
Okay, we can see your screen now.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Well, again, thank you very much, Kevin, for inviting me for this webinar on good manufacturing practices. And thank you for joining. What I will talk about is I will very briefly introduce what good manufacturing practices are. And really, there's a lot of synergy between GMP and ISO. ISO obviously is a quality management system. So we'll look at really how basically they really line up very closely. And we'll address several key parameters, which obviously are very much consistent with each other. Before I start, I just want to introduce myself and my company. I'm a certified ISO 9001 lead auditor, and I'm also the sole proprietor of Amrus Consulting. I've established Amrus Consulting in 2015 after a lengthy career as a project manager in a large aerospace company, which is certified to the AS 9100 quality standard, which is the aerospace standard. And what I currently do is I provide consulting services to various businesses that are both trying to achieve ISO certification or to maintain it. And that does require some regular audits and making sure that you are following all of the ISO requirements. Now back, about 3 years ago now, I came across the tools that Bimser Solutions, that Bimser International is offering, and I became a Bimser Solution partner. Really, it's to support the marketing activities for, well, I'm in particular interested in the QDMS tool, but there are other tools that obviously Bimser provides. And so this will be a nice integration of the use of the tools to support the ISO environment. And I also do a number of webinars and lectures on various ISO topics. So let me first, very top level, introduce the concepts of good manufacturing practices, okay? And they're really obviously focused on manufacturing. And as you can see, though the circles, the bubbles there indicate some of the key elements of what good manufacturing is all about. Obviously, on the right side is quality management. Obviously, you have to have a good quality process in place. And that certainly is very consistent with ISO is kind of driving. Okay, so here's already the synergy. And then if you look going around in the circles, obviously you have to deal with suitable facilities and qualified people. Well, obviously, yes, your infrastructure has to be in place and you have to have the right people working for you. Risk management. You have to identify risks before the risks show up and really affect your business and the progress of what you're trying to do. So risk management is important in good manufacturing practices, but it is also a requirement in ISO. Personnel training and competency. Very important that your people are both trained and are also competent in whatever work they're assigned to do. And lastly, complaints and recalls. In other words, you have to look at non-conformances, whether they're coming from the customer or if they're identified before they're sent to the customer, that's better because you don't want to have non-compliant products or service reaching your customers. So you have to have a process of handling complaints and potentially recalls if that is required. So how do we control this in practice? Okay. Well, first of all, GMP really wants to make sure that you have a set of rules and regulations in place in your organization. And that's something that really meets all of your quality requirements. And that really, it depends on the nature of your products. So it's up to the organization to develop the right rules and regulations to make sure that you're meeting all your quality requirements. The next thing is processes must be well defined. Now, processes are really tasks that are part of developing, let's say, your product. So as your product is developed, it goes through stages, and those are, each stage is, let's say, a process which defines all the activities that have to be done. And now you have to make sure that all of the processes are well integrated and managed and controlled. Obviously, depending on the nature of your product, manufacturing must be done in a clean and hygienic area. So that is very important. So no contamination it affects your product. Conditions in order to prevent cross-contamination and protection to adulterants. So it's very important, especially in the area of medical products or food. That is very important that you don't have any contamination. Next thing is operators must be qualified and trained. And I mentioned that before. Whether they have to be certified to perform a certain task, but there's a slew of training that is probably uh, assigned to various individuals depending on the nature of the job, and all of that information must be recorded, and so that there are records of the training and certifications for each of the employees. Uh, and obviously, all the processes must follow the good documentation practices, and everything has to be documented so there's no confusion as to what has to get done. And also, and as a last point, uh, the history, and you really should have data that maintains all of the manufacturing steps, that the equipment used is validated and calibrated. So you have to maintain records of its calibration. The distribution, serialization. So you want to make sure that uh, the batches that are being developed or manufactured, that you know where they're going, so that in case you have to recall certain products, you know who to go to recall them. So tracing, and that includes tracing of also your supply chain, because your supplier could uh, have a recall for their product. So that means that now there's like a chain reaction. So you have to know exactly to trace where the the origins of your supply chain came from, so you can always know what to do if there's any issues with that. All right, I want to just show what ISO is all about, and because this pictorial diagram really describes a typical quality management system, and obviously there is um, a cycle here called the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, which was developed by Deming, who was a quality guru, and that was developed many years ago, but it's still very applicable today. And basically, it's a continuous improvement cycle, uh, which starts from the planning stage through the operation, the evaluation, which is really the testing phase, and then you evaluate what are some of your nonconformances and discrepancies, and then you uh, do an improvement, let's say, cycle or step. Then you go and replan, and you just stay in that loop kind of forever, because you really will be doing continuous improvement. And as you can see, I mentioned before risk management. That is an input into your planning stage. Obviously, on top of the diagram, support and operation, which is uh, your stage where all of the manufacturing, let's say, of your products is being done, and the support is really your infrastructure, which includes your personnel and the equipment, and basically the requirements for your factory. So this really, this ISO quality management system definitely supports the good manufacturing process. Okay, and I wanted to just take some ISO clauses which are really directly related to some of the GMP practices, and this again is kind of what I was talking to earlier, and I've taken some of those areas and see how GMP and ISO are really related. First is risk management. And if you look at ISO, clause 6.1 says, what are the actions that you have to take to address risks and opportunities? Okay. Now, the other important part for GMP is suitable facilities and qualified person. And there's several ISO clauses. 7.12 is for people, that it says that you have to have qualified people, people that are capable of doing their work efficiently and effectively. Then clause 7.13 addresses the infrastructure. Well, this is obviously all the equipment, tools, and whatever that you need to carry out and develop your product. And clause 7.14 deals with the environment for the operation of processes. And again, I said before that GMP requires you to have processes that are integrated and with each other, and are efficient in whatever activity you're trying to accomplish. Then ISO also deals a lot with personnel training and competency. Okay, now clause 7.2 says, that you have to maintain records of all of your staff and see what is their competence. So that includes training, whatever experience they've acquired, working, education. All of that is considered as staff competence, and all of that has to be accounted for and documented. And lastly is complaints and recall. And obviously, whenever you have complaints or have to manage recalls, it has to be based on documented information. You have to know, what caused the complaint or the recall. Obviously, it was some non-conformance, so you have to investigate the non-conformance. And there are various tools that Bimser International supports to do an analysis of what is really the source and the cause of the problem. And then you have to monitor, measure, analyze, and evaluate the issue. And obviously that's addressed in clause 9.1. So that's, again, part of your continuous improvement. So you perform the evaluation, and then you determine what has to be done to make improvements. And finally, clause 9.3 is management review. Management has to be on top of everything that's going on, because otherwise, if management loses control, then obviously that could create a lot of issues. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about, and I'll pass it back on to Kevin. Thank you very much.
Alex, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation, as always. Very educational, very informative. Much appreciated. Also, it was great for us to learn about ISO 9001 and how actually we can run both systems together. Good manufacturing practices and ISO, they actually support each other in a way. So we also learn more from you in that sense. Thank you very much. We may have some questions, so if you can stay with us till the Q&A session, really appreciate it, Alex. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, great. So now we lay the foundation of good manufacturing practices as well as ISO 9001. Now let's talk about how you can actually perform good manufacturing practices, how you actually comply with it. So as we all know, good manufacturing practices involves a lot of sanitation and facility management requirements, because good manufacturing practices we typically see in the marketplace for food and beverage industry, for pharmaceutical industry, for healthcare industry, for example. So it is a lot about hygiene of the work environment, of the manufacturing environment. So how do we take care of our work environment? How do we make sure it is hygiene, it is well maintained, and it is documented? So documentation, as Alex mentioned earlier, is key. That is the backbone of any compliance activity, both for ISO 9001, also in the scope of good manufacturing practices. So that is why actually we are presenting BEAM, our enterprise asset maintenance facility and energy management software, to help you comply with good manufacturing practices digitally, especially for facility management. So we have in this session of the executive webinar series, we have the show and tell, and we'll talk about BEAM software, and my colleague Sam will be talking about asset management module as to how do we define facilities as well as equipment, because we also need to make sure equipment is also cleaned and well maintained and documented. So we'll talk about asset management module. We'll talk about facility management module, as in maintenance module, also known as, and we'll talk about periodic and preventive maintenance. And we'll also talk about resource and spare part management modules as well. And we'll also show you reports and dashboard as well for key performance indicator monitoring. As I mentioned earlier, the way that we've designed BEAM is to help you digitally comply with good manufacturing practices, ISO and other quality management systems. You also document your activities, whether that is maintenance operations, whether that's sanitation operations, whether that is actually an audit in your work environment. You are actually documenting, and you can always visit it later on in the form of reports. And if you are audited, internally audited or externally audited for certification purposes, or just for internal continuous improvement purposes, you can always pull up your records digitally. And as I mentioned earlier, we've been developing BEAM since 1998 as a mature system. And right now there are more than 15 million assets being managed on BEAM. Assets may be machinery, equipment, buildings, facilities, and other corporate assets. And it's been in the market since 1998, and so it's a mature and solid system. And there are more than 300 corporate clients of ours using BEAM on a daily basis. Okay, so I think it was a nice presentation of BEAM, nice and smooth. And we also talk about the show and tell agenda. Now I'd like to introduce Sam Watt, our pre-sales software engineer at Bimser International from our engineering team. And we'll watch and learn during Sam's show and tell session. Sam, I'll stop sharing so you can get started.
Okay, and can you see my screen?
Yes, looks good. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Also, thank you, Kevin and Alex, for their presentations. This is Sam, the pre-sales software engineer at Bimser International, based in New York. In the following, I will demonstrate you BEAM, our asset maintenance, fleet, facility, and energy management. Also, you will learn how to comply with good manufacturing practices and also manage your facility management activities digitally by using our system. As for BEAM, it is a web-based system, and it can work as a standalone and connect by using your web browser like Google Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or Safari. In addition, BEAM also certified by Acumatica ERP. You can find the integration between two systems as you can manage all your asset information as the master data in Acumatica ERP, and those data will be fed to our system accordingly. In addition, you can run BEAM on the same page of Acumatica ERP. On your left, you can still get into the workspaces of Acumatica ERP, and on your right, you can connect and start managing, for example, the maintenance scheduling by using BEAM, right in the same page of your web browser. As BEAM is a permission-based system as well, so not everyone can see everything. You will see what you are supposed to do based on the permissions that are granted to your account. Different users have different permission settings based on your role, position, profession, department, and group. I'm now logging in as the admin so that I have the full control of the system. And right after I log into the system, I can find the dashboard on this home screen that visualize all the real-time data into the ranges of this dashboard. Your data will be shown as a scorecard, a list, a pie chart, a bar chart, or a table that helps you keep tracking the performance and KPIs of the company. Furthermore, the ranges interact with each other. Think about like the one on the top left. These are different locations, departments, or even team of our company. And you make a selection in this list, then the real-time data will change accordingly. So other than keep having an overview of the whole company, you can also specify the performance and keep tracking it based on the locations and also the department as well. On the top left, this is the main menu of our system. So you will see what you are supposed to do based on the permission that are granted to your account. And there are 4 basic modules that we have in this main menu, which are asset management module, maintenance management module, spare parts management module, which we call it material management module in the system, and also the personnel as known as skill management module. So first of all, let us get into the asset management module in the scope of facility management. And there is an item named as graphical asset tree that allows you to upload the blueprint and also the floor plan of your facility or your building. And after you upload your blueprint or the floor plan, you can pinpoint the location of your fixed asset. For example, your HVAC systems or your alarms, for example. And by coming to this page, you can find the status of your asset, how they are working on the ground. As they are all in green color, meaning they are working well. And once there is any maintenance that you have scheduled to this asset, its color will turn into red. It especially helps the high management level to have an overview of the status of the asset. So you don't have to log into the system, go to the asset list, and instead you just log in and go to the graphical asset tree. Then you can have an overview of the status of your asset. Besides, you can upload the blueprint or the floor plan for different locations or different floors of your building so that you can have different settings and also different pinpoint location of your fixed asset in this graphical asset tree. And by using our system, you can also find the asset tree that show the structure of your company in a hierarchy form. So this is available in our system that you can expand the company name, for example, and also the location so that you can have an idea what kind of asset that you have allocated to this location. You can also find the asset line in this asset tree meaning you can combine different assets together and as for performing a single task. As for facility management, we can have our building as one of our assets. Then we can create different assets as the floor, as per the floors, like first floor, second, and then the basement, for example. And we can also find how many rooms that we have in this particular floor and what kind of asset, like equipment or machinery that we have equipped or put in this particular office room. Another example that will be like the basement, so that we can see what kind of assets that we have equipped or that is located in the basement, like the boiler, the HVAC system, for example, and all the maintenance that you have scheduled to the parent asset, it will automatically apply to the dependent asset as well. For example, we have, in order to comply with GMP, good manufacturing practices, we are having our sanitation. So we have to sanitize this particular room, for example. Then by default, this maintenance will also be scheduled to this equipment, and those will be unavailable in the system for due to scheduling any task, because we are sanitizing the room, and this machine are not supposed to work in the meantime. And as for the layers of the asset tree that you can have, technically you do not have any limitation. The reason why I bring this up, because in the market, some systems, they do charge for additional layer, or saying they just give you 6 layers, and any layers more than that, you will be charged, and that is not a case by using BEAM. So you can have the layers, in terms of the number, you can have infinity layer in the asset tree. And this is the asset list that shows all the asset information and also asset records that you have recorded in the system. And in this example, those are coming from Acumatica. As for our Acumatica ERP, you manage the master data of your asset, like the code, the name, and also the department, the cost center, and barcode number, for example. Then we will capture it from Acumatica ERP and feed our system accordingly. And on the left, you can also find the sub-menu under this asset information page. You can also define the materials that will be used or the spare parts that will be used by this asset for any maintenance operation. Saying we have 1,000 spare parts that we have recorded in the system. So you don't have to take like 10 of them out of 1,000, but instead we can define it as the default list, so that once you have any maintenance that you scheduled to this asset, then this list will apply automatically. Similar idea to the maintenance team. We can define the default maintenance team, which is responsible to take care of this asset, and any maintenance that you have scheduled, it will be sent, or the system will take this team as the default maintenance team. Furthermore, you can also manage the information like insurance and also inspection to your asset. Think about like your building. And as for our building, it has to be covered by the insurance, so that you can ask the system to send you an alert by the time your insurance is going to expire. So the system will send you an alert automatically in our system, BEAM, and also send a notification to your email inbox as well. So this is a two-way notification features that we have in the system that make sure you will not miss any important notification or important information that we have set up an alert in the system. And you can upload the picture of your assets like your building or any fixed assets that you have equipped in your facility or plant, like your machine or equipment, as the appearance is one of the best ways that you identify which asset that you are interacting with, and also any document that is related to your asset. You are more than welcome to upload them as a PDF file, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even a video to this document list. And there is a reporting tool that allows you to create over 10,000 ready-made reports in every single module of our system. For example, we have our asset status report. And before generating your report, you can put some criteria and also the conditions to this report, like the asset type or the location. And then we can prepare our report so that all your data will be shown in a pie chart or as a table. You are more than welcome to export your report into PDF, Excel, or image for sharing with any responsible parties or for preparing your meeting. In addition, you can also schedule this report to be sent by the system automatically, as you can enter the recipient email here. And under this configuration, you will receive this report every day at 9 in the morning, so that you will receive this report in your email inbox instead of logging into the system every single time you need it. And saying, we have our asset information, those are ready, and there is an unplanned breakdown to our asset. The operators on the ground, or like the driver of your vehicle, or the operator of your machine, or the maintenance, the employees in the building, they can file a work request regarding the unplanned breakdown. For example, to your alarm or to the HVAC system, to the boiler, for example. Then they can create a work request by filling this fast request form. They just enter the basic information like the asset name, pick and choose from the asset list, and that is coming from the asset management module, and also provide the additional information in this open text box. Besides, BEAM also has a mobile application that is available for Android and iOS devices, so that you can file this work request by using your handheld device like your smartphone and tablet, and you can take the picture of the asset and attach it right here as an evidence or reference to the maintenance team. All your work requests that you created will be sent to the work order pool automatically. And as for the work order pool, it's mostly managed by the maintenance team. And here is where we can start scheduling the actual work order in the system. And of course, you can create a work order without any work requests, like as for, let's say, calibration or periodic maintenance or any maintenance that we need or repair that we need without any request. And as we have a work request ready, and what you will see on your top right is the start time and also start date and time. We can pick and choose it from a calendar and start scheduling this work order. Furthermore, we can assign this work order to the engineer or the mechanic by coming to the work labor page. We can select it from our left in the submenu and also assign it and record the performance of our engineer and the mechanic. You can also record and define the materials or the spare parts that will be used for this work order. And if there's any services provided by the third parties like the contractors, suppliers, or vendors, you can also save all this information in this work order as well. And the system will calculate the total cost based on the quantity, like how many hours of service that you need from this service provider, and save the cost accordingly. Also, you can define the work steps as the reference to the maintenance team so that you can keep tracking what the maintenance team has done to your asset. There will be that is a nice reference for the maintenance team to refer to and follow the steps that we have defined it in this work order. And once the team performs certain action, they also have to update the status as if they follow the steps that we have defined it in this workflow. Any attached documents that you upload to this work order, the team can also find it under the attached document, and all the costs will be calculated automatically by the system with the local labor costs, material costs, and the service costs, also the total cost as well. So it gives you an idea how much this work order costs your company. You can also create a cost report in our reporting tool that shows you all the work order costs that you have scheduled in our system. All your work order that you have scheduled can be found in a calendar view. So it shows you how many work order are incoming, and also how many work order or what kind of work order that you have scheduled previously. On this calendar, you can also show the detail of this particular workflow, and all the information will be pulled up on, to your screen with the date and also the time, the material, for example, or the cost. And then let's get back to our demo environment. Okay. In order to keep our asset at the best condition and make sure our production will not be interrupted by any unplanned breakdown, we can also schedule the preventive maintenance in our system as well. And there are two ways that you can manage or schedule your preventive maintenance. First of all, it is followed by date, like day, week, or month. Based on the last maintenance date that we have recorded in your asset, then the system will calculate the next preventive next maintenance date automatically. And you don't have to do the calculation by yourself, and instead it will be done by the system. For example, every 720 days, then the system will update the next maintenance date automatically. You also have the option to pick and choose, like if you want to follow it by day, week, or month. So the system will have the reference and also the measurement in terms of the calculation. And if it is not the best way to have your preventive maintenance, you can also set up a counter value. For example, to your machine or to your like boiler, we will have the preventive maintenance based upon the temperature, the humidity, or the production, rotation, vibration, or even mileage for your vehicle. Then with the integration with the IoT devices that you equipped it on your asset, then the system will generate a preventive maintenance work order automatically. For example, every 10,000 production, then we should have a preventive maintenance to our machine. Then once the your IoT devices return the value as 10,001, then the system will generate a preventive maintenance. Okay, it's time now for you to have your preventive maintenance to your machine. Similar to creating a work order, you can also define the material that will be used and also attach the document to this preventive maintenance. And next, let us get into the material module, as known as the spare part module, which you can find all the material that you have saved in the system. And all these items or all these spare parts, they are coming from Acumatica ERP, like its code, name, unit of measurement, barcode number, or expiration date if there's any. Again, Acumatica ERP hosts all this master data of your spare part. And by using our system, you can also set up the warehouse parameters. As for your spare part, you might store them in different places or different warehouses. You can also set up the minimum, maximum, and safety stock level. Once your quantity of your spare parts reach the safety stock level, in order to make sure you will not run out of this material, then the system will send you a notification or a reminder in order to make sure you purchase more spare parts to this particular storage place. You can also find the vendor information and also the equivalent of this material. Furthermore, you can attach the document like safety guideline, handbook, instructions of this spare part, and upload a picture of your spare part as well. You can also manage the transaction of your spare part in our system, saying incoming, withdrawal, or transfer from one location to another. Saying we have our purchase order and we in Acumatica ERP and it is recorded, and we have our purchase receipt associated with that purchase order. Then you can also update the record in our system. Like we have more spare parts in our warehouse, so that we can record it with the materials that is going to increase in its quantity, and also the number that is going to increase and the unit price. So those transactions will be recorded in our system with a unique voucher number that you can always run a report and see all the transactions of different warehouses. At last, we come to the personnel module, as known as a skill management module. You can manage and find all the information of your employees, especially to your engineer and also your mechanic. You can find their name, their code, the team they are working as, the warehouse they're working at, and also the shift. The system also allows you to upload the certificate or the license held by this employee and keep tracking the expiration date of this particular license. By the time this license or certificate is going to expire, then the system will send you a reminder and also send the certificate holder a reminder to renew their license. And all the schedule of the employees can be found in a calendar view, so that you can always keep tracking and have an overview of the schedule of the employees and compare the schedule of different employees as well. It helps you avoid the conflict while you're assigning the task to your engineer or your mechanic with opening the schedule or their schedule in one screen, in one calendar. It comes to the end of my demonstration on a high level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for show and tell. So as you saw during Sam's show and tell session, BEAM is ready to help you comply with good manufacturing practices in the form of facility management, maintenance management, sanitation, operations, and other facility management related operations. As you saw, there is more to BEAM. BEAM can also take you to plant maintenance management and other maintenance management related operations as well. Today we focus on facility management just to help you comply with good manufacturing practices digitally. So in that sense, you saw that you can manage your assets, your buildings, your machinery, equipment. You can issue work orders to make sure you follow good manufacturing practices, guidelines as to have a hygienic and sanitized work environment, same for work environment and also equipment that you are working on, and also as to resource management and spare part management that is designed to help you increase your productivity and increase your efficiency in your facility management operations. Also, you saw the preventive maintenance management operations that you can manage on BEAM that basically helps you automate your maintenance management operations based on certain criteria, such as time, hours that you spend on a certain machinery or equipment, for example, or time period, every 10 days, every 30 days, every day perhaps, to do issue certain work orders automatically without waiting and without making phone calls and sending ton of emails, for example. So that is really, really practical. And at the end of the day, as I mentioned earlier, BEAM is designed to help you become proactive in your facility management operations while you are complying with many different quality and compliance management requirements. Especially we focus on good manufacturing practices today, and that is very common in manufacturing, especially in food and beverage industry, healthcare, as well as pharmaceutical industry. It is very, very common, and other manufacturing fields that is related to FDA compliance requirements, and or maybe voluntarily following good manufacturing practices to have the ideal work environment during manufacturing operations. Great. So let's talk about some of the questions that we have been receiving from you. Before we address questions, you see our contact information on the screen. You may be having some questions about BEAM. You may be having some questions about good manufacturing practices or ISO 9001, for example. You can get in touch with Alex if you'd like to schedule time to see BEAM as a standalone solution or integrated with Acumatica ERP system. You can send me an email, or you can send an email to Sam, and we can schedule time just for you, just to address your company's asset and maintenance management requirements. First, we understand your company, your business requirements, and then we basically suggest some solutions as to how we can help you in a digital and automated work environment. All right, so one of the questions about actual pricing. So we don't release any pricing during these executive webinar sessions. Please send me an email and we can talk about pricing based on your business requirements. One of the questions is also about structure of BEAM. So does it also have purchasing management module included in it, or is it something additional? So in summary, our basic module for any asset and maintenance management operations, including complying with good manufacturing practices, as follows. We have asset management module, we have maintenance management module, we have spare part management module, and we have resource management, also known as personnel management module. So we have 4 modules. They basically shape the basic module package, basic package that we have on BEAM. So when you have these 4 modules, you can basically perform any asset and maintenance management operations in a digital environment. If you like to make it in a more advanced way, we also recommend dashboard module, purchasing management module, and if you have energy management operations, we also recommend energy management module. There is a workflow engine underneath BEAM, and it comes with it, and we design the workflow based on your company's business requirements, such as budget, such as approval requirements by the type of work. Sometimes some work orders are high risk, and you also define the risk levels in your work orders. And if it is a high risk work order, it may require an additional internal review and approval, for example. So all these approval levels, we have no limits, because we have the most powerful workflow engine ever in the asset and maintenance management field. which we are really proud of. So we can utilize that workflow engine for your business requirements while you are running your asset and maintenance management operations. One of the questions about actually, Alex, if you are there, maybe you can address. So, what is the typical difficulties or challenges that you see in the marketplace while companies are complying with ISO 9001 or good manufacturing practices, especially while managing infrastructure?
Uh, that's a good question. I think the first thing is acceptance by all of the staff of following the guidelines of either GMP or ISO. But I think the other problem is managing all the data because whatever system you're following, it generates a lot of data. And if that data, I mean, theoretically, you can keep the data in a folder in file cabinets. It could be, you know, hard copies. It could be electronic copies on different computers. But I think the most important thing is to have integrated data under one database that contains all the information to support either GMP or ISO. And I think that having a tool like that will give you the most benefit of meeting and complying with whatever standard you choose to use.
Alex, thank you very much. Sam, one of the questions about mobile application. Why don't you tell us about it?
Sure. So BEAM has a mobile application that is available for Android and iOS device. You can download it from the Google Play Store or the App Store. And once you connect to the system by using the mobile application, you will see the same data set that you can find in your web browser because they are going to and coming from the same database. In addition, in your mobile application, you can create your work request, manage your work order, like scheduling it, and also open the work order that is assigned it to you. More than that, of course, you can find the asset information and also your spare part information that you have recorded in the system by using your smartphone or tablet. So it is a very we have the cutting edge technology that helps you to manage your maintenance activities by using our system. So you can open it in the web browser and also open it in the mobile application. Thank you very much.
Sam, thank you. We have another question about KPI tracking. So you showed us a dashboard that shows service costs and labor costs. How do you design this dashboard? What is the limit of it? Or can we just put any type of KPI element that we need?
So as for the dashboard, we will set this up, first of all, during the implementation based on what you want to see in order to, in terms of tracking the KPIs. And also we have the training provided to the responsible person so that you can always update the dashboard based on your requirement. And in short, the dashboard, it is configurable, meaning you can put whatever that you want to see in the ranges of the dashboard and keep tracking the performance and KPIs of your company.
Thank you very much. Alex, before we end our executive webinar session, is there any message that you'd like to share with our attendees and listeners?
Yes, definitely. Again, I want to re-emphasize, I think, the importance of using tools. And from my own experience, when I was actually consulting with companies that were trying to achieve ISO certification, the use of tools, I think, is a very important aspect of dealing with any kind of, um, let's say, when you have requirements, whether it's ISO or GMP, is to deal with the data. So I strongly urge if you're not using tools, to consider using tools, and certainly Bimser International has a wonderful set of tools to support uh, your activities. So Thank you very much for that. Mhm.
Alex, thank you so much. Also, thank you for your educational presentation as always. It was great to learn about ISO 9001 and actually how it supports good manufacturing practices together. So they both actually complementary in a way in manufacturing operations. We also learned that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it as always. Before we end our session, I'd like to let you know that we basically release our Synergize 2021 annual virtual conference and summit in March. And it was actually very successful. And we had actually great turnout, and we had very educational and informative sessions for remote work and digital transformation. You can go to our YouTube channel and you can see the recordings that we had during Synergize 2021 sessions. Especially we talk about digital transformation, stages of digital transformation. And one of the important sessions that we had was about actually future of remote work, how it is right now and how it'll be after pandemic. So after pandemic. So that was also very important for us to learn about as to what business society think about remote work and how it'll be in terms of moving forward after pandemic. So we definitely invite you to our YouTube channel. Moving forward, we are also getting ready for Synergize 2022, and it'll take place next year, March 16th. You are more than welcome to visit our Eventbrite page to register. And next year, we'll cover how to automate business processes in this digital age. And we'll talk about purchasing management operations. We'll talk about quality management, maintenance management, as well as compliance requirements such as OSHA, FDA, and other important regulatory requirements in different industries, and how you can actually automate while you are comply as well. As well as we'll talk about industry-specific practices such as finance, banking, insurance, manufacturing, healthcare, and pharmaceutical. And we'll also talk about some upcoming industries as well. So you are invited to our Synergize 2022 annual virtual summit, and you can register at your earliest convenience. Our YouTube channel is active. We have more than 300 videos available, and we put new videos. We release new videos on weekly basis. Please subscribe. So when you subscribe, as soon as we have a new video available on our YouTube channel, you'll be notified and you'll have a chance to watch and see what is coming up in Bimser International ecosystem in the scope of digital transformation, manufacturing 4.0, automation, as well as preventive and predictive maintenance management operations. And that is why we design our Eventbrite page to help you see our actually activities. Some of them are about actually webinars, some of them are actually different events. So you can visit our Eventbrite page and you can see what is coming up in our event calendar, and you can register for those that you are interested. So you are invited to our Eventbrite page as well. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for your interest. We are looking forward to seeing you at our coming executive webinar sessions. Thank you and have a nice day.